I mean, if you ask leftists in Germany, which we did, and some of the interviews are up on the Alex Jones channel, there's no limit. If you ask leftist politicians in the United Kingdom, like Jeremy Corbyn, there's no limit. There's no limit until they completely overturn the host population and feed on these people, because they know that eventually they will vote for big government. Big business loves it too because they get cheap labor. Yet it's all dressed up in this humanitarian crap, as exemplified by the Pope over and over again. This is the guy who lives behind, 39-foot walls, lecturing Donald Trump about building a wall. The 14 migrants were guests of Caritas of Florence and the European University and carried banners of the charity that is caring for them along with Vatican flags. On arriving in St. Peter's Square, Francis embraced them and then asked them to accompany him to his chair and remain near him during his weekly catharsis and greetings. Comparing the refugees, again, the vast majority are not refugees. They're not Syrian. They're young men on their cell phones who want to get on welfare. We've proven that. The vast majority, or the clear majority of welfare payments in these European welfare havens like Sweden go to migrants. But the Pope compared them to modern lepers, stressing that Jesus would touch those who were excluded, but modern Christians seldom do. So again, it's all wrapped up in this humanitarian propaganda. The real solution, of course, is to create safe zones in Syria where actual refugees are coming from, not Pakistan, not Bangladesh. These countries aren't even at war. The proper solution is to create those safe zones in Syria. And yeah, you can have a global fundraising drive to create that. And it would be entirely possible. But no, they have to come into the West, even though they hold grossly intolerant beliefs that are incompatible with Western society, as we saw once again with Omar Mateen. This is already having devastating consequences for Europe. Again, villages in Germany, 150 people, suddenly subsumed by 700 migrants hanging around the streets, vastly overrepresented in crime statistics. You saw what happened in Cologne. You saw what happened in Sweden at the music festival. This is bad news for, quote, tolerant liberal ideals. And yet the Pope is dressing it up in tolerant liberal ideals to sell it. It's a complete and utter hoax. Yet, unfortunately, a lot of people in Europe are still buying it. We'll be back in the next segment of the Alex Jones Show Live with a special report from Alex Jones. Don't go away. We are back live on the Alex Jones Show. There's a report about a stabbing outside a polling station as Brits vote on the EU referendum. At the moment, they're saying it's not connected to the vote, but we'll continue to watch that. Now, before we go to Alex's report, I want to tell you about the all Alexa Pure water filters, which are 20% off right now at InfoWarsStore.com. That's 20% off at InfoWarsStore.com for a limited time only, from the super high quality gravity-fed Alexa Pure Pro water filtration systems to shower filters. Now is the time to stock up for the lowest prices. The Alexa Pure filtration system removes up to 99.999% of bacteria, disinfectants, volatile organic contaminants, and hormones. You could even filter from lakes, rivers, streams, wells, and of course, municipal water. So again, the government is stocking up on all this stuff. They're stocking up on food. Why shouldn't you? God forbid, you might be called a tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorist for having something that cleans the water, for buying many more of these great products, which have got independent 5-star reviews at InfoWarsStore.com. And again, you've seen where the money has gone. You've seen what we plow it into, which is sending reporters out to things like the Trump events to document on camera the violent behavior of leftist social justice warriors, to flip round that narrative that we saw the media tried to create right at the start of this, that Donald Trump supporters were responsible for the violence. We turned the camera around, put it on the people who were really responsible for the violence, and we flipped that narrative. And especially since San Jose, now you see that the media can no longer make that claim. It's being completely debunked. That's where your money goes. That's why we cherish your support. That's why we want you to get the products at InfoWarsStore.com. But now we've got a special report from Alex Jones himself. Here's the clip.
So I started this talk a few minutes ago talking about what is a true awakening? What is true consciousness? And that's a complex question on the surface, but it's really simple when you look at it through a historical, cultural lens. Consciousness is our entire cultural genetic experience as a species, stretching back into the mist of time through our instincts and through our genetics up until this point. The great lie is that we are just these alone individuals. We are individuals, but we carry with us the hopes, the dreams, the passions, the sins, but also the great works and the love of those that came before us. We are them. And we have that love of those in the past and that electric connection to the present, focusing forward into the future. And when you don't have a sense of the space-time continuum, when you don't have a sense of the species and its journey and its mission, if you don't have a sense of believing in the species and believing in its survival and believing in its ascension, then you have cut yourself off from what it is to be human. And that's the big globalist virus, is to make you cynical, to make you hateful, to never let you go through rites of passage when you're young, to never go through cultural rituals that are meant to release chemical reactions in the brain that unlock race memories, consciousness memories that are far beyond the vague, limited statement of instincts, and that allow you as a current sentient being to commune and experience all of the genetic wealth and history and thought and dreams of those before you. This is only one small part of the spectrum that is the wonder, that is this world of fantastical magic that we live in. And that's why they want us to fight over petty issues. That's why they want us to be emotional and dumb us down into these, areas where language has been reduced to the point where it's all just about color and spectrum and where you're from or what you say and what you do, instead of the real issues that are being discussed and debated. But here's the bottom line. The globalists have seized control of the planet. They openly claim it's theirs. They're the technocrats. They're the hardcore, cold-blooded scientists that have decided this belongs to them because the general public is so dumbed down and so mindless. But their great sin, as I have said countless times, is that they have built a modern system and designed it to make people pliable, to make people passive, to make people stupid, to make people unfeeling, undreaming creatures so that they can be managed. So how do you then turn back and look at the mass of humanity and say that they're a failed group who is deserving of extermination when you yourselves have set up a system to bring them down? And undoubtedly, everything that's been established in this great time of decadence is destroying the so-called elites themselves. They're not immune from the cultural and spiritual machinery that they've turned loose, that they've released. I mean, look at the oxymoronic paradigm of so-called liberals like the Democratic Party and the Republican leadership to a certain extent as well, bringing in millions of radical Islamics all over Europe and the United States, and then telling us we have to give up our freedoms so that we don't offend them, so that we're not attacked, and that Americans are to blame for what happened in San Bernardino and Fort Hood and the Army Navy recruiting centers, and of course Orlando and countless other events, Charlie Hebdo, the French theater, the 300,000 Christians killed by ISIS. All of this is the fault of the American gun owner, when it's Hillary Clinton and her foundation and Obama and NATO and the French government and the Turkish government and others who've openly been funding with Saudi Arabia a global jihad. Saudi Arabia was only a few hundred square miles in 1901 in the middle of what Saudi Arabia today, with a kidnapping, bank robber mob of flesh merchants known as the House of Saud, a few hundred Bedouin robbers who then were given British intel and British money and turned loose to take over more than half of the Middle East, including Syria, by the 1930s. And now we sit here and look at them launching their tentacles and building hundreds of mosques per country every year and controlling the leftist media, who are a bunch of unprincipled sellouts They already sold out to corporations. They already sold out to globalists. They already sold out to technocracies. They already sold out to communist Chinese. So why not just go ahead and sell out to the Wahhabists, who keep women as slaves and who are the most oppressive people on earth? And then we see Jakari Jackson, we'll play a clip of this, in Atlanta a few days ago. And he comes up and there's a black man wearing a rainbow flag talking in a classically stereotypical, effeminate voice. And I don't even dislike him because he does that. It's just that it's so standard and stereotypical. And he's bitching out some young black teenager man who's just simply there to support Donald Trump, saying, you're a racist. Donald Trump wanted to send black people back to Africa. And Donald Trump's family's KKK, all of that, complete made-up bull, like saying that moon right up there is made of cheese. That's how stupid they think everyone is.
Why would you support a racist?
Tell me what he said about African
He's going to send you back to Africa. That's what he said. He said send Mexicans back to Mexico. You are a disgrace to America for being a young black man supporting a racist.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's how utterly mindless and dumbed down they treat you when they sit there and they tell you these things. And I'll be quite honest. Do I trust Donald Trump completely? No. Do I think Donald Trump's perfect? No. But he's doing things that are irrevocably damaging to the globalist and world government. He's exposing political correctness. He's exposing one-sided trade deals. He's exposing it's wrong to disarm the American people and blame the American people for an Islamic attack. He's doing things that are incontrovertibly damaging to the New World Order. So I ask myself, is Donald Trump awake? I think Donald Trump is a emblematic benchmark, a gauge, a symbol, a bellwether, a weather vane, a marker, an indication that there is a massive push worldwide by 7.5 billion humans to go to the next level. And the technocrats at the UN and the big central banks admit they want to keep you poor. They want to keep you dumb. They want to keep you manageable so that they can dole out culture and control and buy you and your mind and your intellect for pennies on the dollar. They want to block prosperity when it's prosperity that's going to clean up the environment, when it's advanced technologies that are going to raise us to the next level. They know that, and they're afraid of the new Renaissance. They're afraid of those new minds out there, turned loose, and what they can do, because even maybe 10% of the world being somewhat free market gives people, with the choices, the products they buy, the food they eat, the culture they indulge in and promote, that spark of humans looking for freedom and looking for the next level is so powerful that any area that it's allowed to operate will automatically discredit the whole system that's corrupt and stagnant and oppressive. They can't in this darkness allow one little ray of light to come in because it dispels their entire fraud. They want to rule like Bohemian Grove, like the gods that are owls, in the dark, where only they are illuminated because they can see in the black. Those that truly want to illuminate humanity want everyone to see and believe in humanity and believe in the animating contest that Thomas Jefferson talked about. Human consciousness, human free will is so grand, so expansive, that I'm not even pretending here today, as the sun sets in Central Texas, to even give you a glimpse of the free will that you already know is within your heart and your soul. The free will, the free association that the creator of the universe gave us all. But all I'm saying is, don't let the establishment media emotionally program you to follow their paradigms. The right wing is incredibly corrupt and dumbed down. I spent years attacking Bush and the Republicans. But under Obama, even the head of the Green Party, even top liberal lawyers like Jonathan Turley and countless others have said that things are basically 3 times worse than they were under Bush. Not that Bush was a better guy. He wasn't as good a deceiver as Barack Obama, who could carry the globalist football even further. The truth is, technology and civilization is too advanced for the elite. They want to keep it for themselves. If they give it to the general public, who actually developed it, That will allow us to be on a level playing field, and they won't have a monopoly anymore. Over. Life Extension Technologies.